We love sugary things, but too much sugar can lead to serious diseases like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Now Mum's got an easy way to cut back on sugar with lower sugar swaps on the things we eat every day. So we get less sugar and we're still happy.
Just 1 or 2 swaps can really make a difference. So make a swap when you next shop.
Welcome back to Ladies Lounge, and we are still here with the fantastic Shola Oladipo. Now, if you joined us before the break, or if you're new, we're still talking about sugar and its impact on children between the ages of 4 and 11. So, Shola, you were talking about childhood obesity, and that's something that we kind of try to shy away from. We see little Albert, and he's really cute, but he's a little, he's a little bit overweight. And that's something that we don't really like saying. I know in your research with kids, is there a difference in the obesity rate based on ethnicity?
Yeah, it's very interesting actually, because in the Black and Asian community, South Asian children are much more obese than their white counterparts. However, Black, African and Caribbean children top the charts in terms of being overweight.
Oh, wow.
So there's something about the genetics, but there's definitely something about the foods. At the moment, in terms of Public Health England research, Black African children in particular are actually the heaviest in terms of, especially at the age of 11. They're just leaving primary school and they're actually the most obese.
Do you think it's because of, again, our sort of relationship with food in our community? Because like you said earlier, when there's a funeral, we eat. When there's a wedding, we eat. Your cousin got a baby, we eat. That kind of thing. Like, is it based on that?
Yeah, I think it's really important to talk about the science. So, being Black, we have certain types of genes already, and Asian people also have the genes. But I think when we know that, it's all more important that we also need to balance our culture. So our culture is one that is very celebratory around food. And yes, there is a relationship with food, and often, with children, we're often giving them extra portions. We're often looking at a child that's perhaps a bit more chubby as being healthy and a sign of good living or stronger, and we often saying things like, oh, don't worry, it's just puppy fat, he'll lose it, or Albert will lose it. And they don't. A lot of research has shown us that an obese child will become an obese adult. And also I find it very interesting in our culture, we often prioritize academics, go and read your book, to actually let's pay attention to your physical health. So yes, I think we do have a certain way, especially as Black folk, around sort of our relationship with food. We give a lot, and we want our children to be big and sturdy.
Wow.
Awesome. So let's talk about the parents and the grandparents in this situation. So you're focusing on the culture and how we as a Black community function. How would you say parents and grandparents are contributing to this particular issue?
I think it's fantastic. I love our culture because often our homes are very multi-generational. So you have mummy, daddy, or mum, and aunties and uncles, and and anyone who's older than your parents is additionally mummy, daddy, and big mummy and big daddy, and we have grandma, So those people form, part of our home communities, and often with, parents or, those seniors in the family, they tend to give food to feed the children up. So, you look at some portions that grandparents will give, and it's usually bigger because they say, when I was your age, I didn't eat well, so you have to eat well. And they pile up the plate and expect them to eat it, or, sneak them a sweetie, perhaps, says, don't tell your mommy, and they press it, press the sweetie. Some grandparents, are known to sort of give a teaspoon of honey if you say, oh, grandma, I'm not feeling well. Come here, my son, let me give you honey or give you a sweetie. So sometimes, parents and grandparents need to be aware, and that's why Change for Life has made this about the family and trying to make it quite simple to get them involved.
So how can Change for Life help them? How can it help those families, parents, grandparents, really get that change put in place?
So I guess, you know, grandparents and parents are at the forefront, and it's about getting children involved. So using some of the resources that Change for Life has made available and making it a family thing. So there's some fantastic videos on the Change for Life website which bring in the family together, identifying where sugar is, using some of the tools and resources, and making it a family thing. So the child's not on their own, but also parents and grandparents are making changes as well. So it becomes a normal way of living.
Talking of resources, I think you've got an app that you're going to be demonstrating later.
Yes.
And that's quite handy, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, so the Change for Life app is free to download on your smartphone, and basically it's a scanner, and what it does is it scans a barcode. So you just line up the barcode and scan your food, and it shows you how many cubes of sugar are in that food. Fantastic, really easy. It does kind of make shopping a bit longer, but I say give it to your children. It's amazing how children are shocked when they see how much sugar is in their favourite, you know, yogurt or in that favourite cereal, and they see it, it's visual. Everyone should download the app. It's quick and it's easy, and it doesn't cost anything. It's free.
It's free?
Yeah, it's free. As in, like
£0.
No subscription and like
no shade to any black people, but you know the black people don't love freeness.
We want to know free.
It's free. Yeah.
So it's free to download, and it's fantastic. And basically, I think that's a number one. But the other thing is, for our foods, you know, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of them don't actually come up on the scanner because there are lots of everyday foods on the scanner. You've got, you know, your cereals, your tin foods and things, but you don't have a lot of our foods. So we encourage families to actually check the label on the food to see what's in it. And the traffic light system's pretty good. You know, you've got the red
traffic light.
The traffic lights.
We want tell us. Educate us. What is that?
In the UK, we have a labelling system, or one of the labelling systems that the government is really encouraging is the traffic light system. So it will show you what the food is high in. So if it's high and it's bad for you, it will be red. And if sugar's red, obviously immediately you can say, oh, that's too high. If it's amber, it means it's kind of okay. And if it's green, it's good to go. So the lowest sugar foods in terms of the amount of sugar will have the green in terms of the amber labelling. Some don't even have that, and that's why it's really important to learn how to read labels. And the Change for Life website is fantastic. It's like another little sort of school where families can do it together. It's in really easy English. You can understand how to recognise what's on the label. One key thing I like to say to people is, if sugar is the first or second or third ingredient, it's gonna be high in sugar. So that's a nice, easy way. So that's a practical way. And the other thing is doing a swap when you shop. Nice and easy, something for everyone to remember. And the campaign is really kind of trying to make this, you know, doable. So doing a swap when you shop. So thinking about, is there anything, you know, in my basket, in my trolley, that I could swap for something lower in sugar? That makes sense. Yeah, so swap when you shop.
You know,
makes perfect sense.
When you're talking about swapping when you're shopping, so let's talk about like smoothies, for example. You'd think a smoothie is something that would be healthier, healthier and easier option for a parent, maybe trying to, you know, tackle this whole Change for Life campaign. Is a smoothie a good idea?
I'm smiling because smoothies are fantastic. But you know, do you remember we talked about sugar? A fruit in itself, in its form as a fruit, is fantastic, and you've got the fibre and the vitamins and minerals. But once you pulp it down into a smoothie form, what you've got is a lot of concentrated sugar. So to your body, your body doesn't think, oh, hang on, this is, you know, 3 apples, a bit of mango and some berries. This is good. Your body just thinks, oh, sugar, okay. So it's very important that smoothies are less fruit actually and more vegetables, because you know some of the big brands for smoothies, they say, you know, fantastic, 9 pieces of fruit in a bottle, but drinks 9 pieces, you know, it's sugar, it's natural sugar, great, but remember, to your body it's just extra sugar, and the risks of you know, ill health, obesity again are still there. So it's so important for smoothies. They're fantastic, but let's have more veg and less of the fruit in them.
I think
let's make them at home.
Exactly.
Make them
fantastic. So Shola, I know that you mentioned that there's a fantastic app that we can make some really vital changes with. What is the actual name of it? Because after we're finished here, I'm going to download it. So I need the name. And can you show us how it works? Because I really want to see.
Okay, so the name is the Change for Life Food Scanner app, and on the App Store you can't miss it. It's a yellow background and it's got 3 sugar cubes. And here's one I prepared earlier. So I downloaded it onto my smartphone. Don't look at my password. And as you can see, it's there. So I pressed on it. And you sort of get this.
Do you know what? I have something that I wanted to enjoy soon. I don't know if I'm actually gonna regret doing this. But
so here is the app. It's live.
Okay.
And
if I bring you this drink, are you gonna be exposing it in a bad way that I'm not gonna want to drink it?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. Take my drink with love.
Okay.
And scan and
so literally I'm scanning it. Oh my goodness, ladies, it's 9 cubes of sugar.
Wow.
Look at that.
9
Oh my
cubes.
goodness.
In that small can. 9 cubes of sugar in a canned cola drink.
That was really, really quick. So it's just literally...
It literally
seconds.
is.
Like a zap. And that's
Seconds. And can you imagine kids doing this, you know, when you're shopping?
They're going to love
They do love it.
It's like a game.
They do love
Something for
it.
them to do, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
But before you go, we can't let you go without letting us know the website so that our viewers can get more information.
Awesome. Okay, so you can find information about everything we've been talking about on the Change for Life website. So it's change, as in CHANGE, 4, the digit 4, and life, all one word. Just pop that into your search engine and Bob's your uncle or your auntie or somebody.
fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so
Amazing.
much. We really appreciate you being here with
No,
us
it's
today.
lovely. Really
Thank
lovely.
you very
Really
much.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching us, guys. We really hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to keep in touch with us and you have any more questions, please follow us on our social media. The handles are appearing across your screen right now as I speak. Thanks again for your time, and we will see you next week.